Shalom, shalom, shalom. Hey, what's going on? My name is Michael Sahno. Welcome to the 12 Cities in Israel podcast. I am so honored to be here with Reserve Major General Doron Almog, who is also the founder and chairman of ALEH Negev, Nahalat, Eran. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Thank you, Michael, for hosting me.
Oh, of course, it's an honor. Now, to start off with, you have so many accomplishments and you have so many titles. Most of the people who come here, they have a title here, they have a title there. They've done this, they've done that. You've done it all. You've done everything. So I'd like to go all the way back to the beginning if I could, if it's not too much trouble. I'd like to know if you could tell us where you're from and your early story. Who is the early young Doron Almog?
Okay, I was born here in Israel, 1951, to Israeli parents, both of them, my mom and my father, born here in Israel under the British mandate. My mom, 1929, my father, 1927.
Wow.
And they had one dream, one day to establish independent Jewish state. And for this goal, they were ready to give their life, to sacrifice themselves, but also they educated us, me and my brother. I'm the elder in my family. They educated us that the most important thing for us as Jews is this country, the Jewish state. And it's not only lip service. Later, after the Yom Kippur War, when my second brother was killed, Eran,
I'm so sorry.
I was bereaved family. I had also the privilege not continue serving in combat unit anymore. And they were asked by my commander, Colonel Matan Vilnai, the paratrooper at that time, the paratrooper brigade commander, came to our house and asked my parents, what do you think about your son, Doron, continue serving as in combat unit?
Came to your
fighter
house?
In our house.
Wow.
He came to speak with my parents because before he came to my parents' house, he called me and said, listen, I want to give you the most risky job in paratrooper brigade, the commander of the reconnaissance unit. And as the commander of the reconnaissance unit, you need to be ready to be number one in every operation, in every battle. This is the most dangerous job. And I don't know what to do because you bereaved family. Your brother was killed in Yom Kippur War. That was 2 years later after the Yom Kippur War. I told him, go and speak with my parents. So he came to speak with my parents. And Isaac's sacrifice in the Bible, it's in my house. He said what he said. And then my parents told him, you can send Doron to every place in the world. You can give him every mission. Don't worry about us. If something happened to Doron, we know how to face it.
Okay.
We lost Eran, our son. We lost many of our friends during the independent war, 48, 49. We know what this country is about. It's about sacrifice. It's about the spirit to be ready to sacrifice. So you can take Doron, give him the most dangerous mission ever.
Wow.
And he came back, called me for continuing the interview, and told me, you got it. You're the commander of the Sayeret Tzanchanim, the reconnaissance unit of the paratroopers. And in this role, I was the commander of many missions. One of them was the Entebbe, flying to Entebbe the night of July 3rd and 4th, 1976. We flew 4,000 kilometers, landed 11 p.m. sharp. I was the first soldier on the ground to mark the runway for More 3 Hercules and to capture the new control tower. We've been there 53 minutes on the ground, and during the first minutes, the 7 terrorists were killed by Yoni Netanyahu unit, 7 terrorists, and about more 30 Ugandan guards were killed by my force, 4 by my force, and most of them at other forces. But 53 minutes on the ground, and we flew back to Israel with 105 Israeli hostages. Yoni Netanyahu was killed. Ershko Surin got a bullet in his head. 3 of the hostages were killed, and another hostage, Doron Almog, was killed later by Idi Amin, the president of Uganda.
Wow.
So that was in respect of the education. The education I got in my house, to be ready to give my life for this country, for the only Jewish state in the world. My parents is the silver plater generation. Silver plater is a song by Alterman, Natan Alterman.
Oh, all right, yeah.
The poet of 48 and later, the 60, 70, 80, very well known. So the silver plater metaphor is about being ready to give your life for the only Jewish state in the world.
Well, that's the thing. You lived through times that I've only read about. You've lived through Golda Meir, Yitzhak Rabin, Menachem Begin, all the left and the right. It didn't matter. It was just the mission, like you said, was Israel. And
it's also today, I believe. I think it's the most important thing for our soldiers, for those who are serving our country, those in Mossad, General Security, of course the IDF, the Israel Defense Forces. In the Middle East, we are surrounded by enemies, jihadists, Hamas, terrorists, Iran, Hezbollah, and we need this spirit. I think today also is the same spirit, even the current generation. However, I'm the generation of Yom Kippur War. I lost many of my friends. I lost my brother in the Yom Kippur War. I decided to continue serving my country as a fighter, as commander. And 1984, 11 years after the Yom Kippur War, our second child was born. I was 33 years old. I was a Special Force Unit commander. And we gave our son, our second child, we gave him the name of my brother that was killed in the Yom Kippur War. As parents, we want our children to be better than us, more successful, more talented, a source of pride. Shortly after his birth, we saw that he doesn't react to noise, to clicks. And then we started some diagnosis at the age of 8 months. We were told by a psychologist, Didi, my wife and me, we were told by a psychologist, your son is having a combination of autism and retardation. That's the specific word she used. I think first time I heard the word autism. Then she said, I believe he will never speak. I believe he will permanently stay at the age of few months. This is a moment, we felt the sky crashing on our head. Didi, my wife, started crying. And then the next 2 years, in our debate, how to continue living if our son will never be graduated of kindergarten, neither elementary school, high school, whatever, never get married, never bring children by his own, nothing. So our ongoing debate was how to continue managing our life. In retrospect, I can tell you that this child was never said one word, was never said dad, never said mom, never made eye contact. He became the greatest professor of my life. He taught me more than any other human being about our society, about myself, about stigma, shame, stereotype, about the place of the weakest members in our society, children like him.
I would actually like to interrupt for a sec because I watched your TED Talk, and you specifically spoke about the treatment of those with special needs throughout. And I mentioned some names, Golda Meir specifically. If
It's
you
not
could go
only-
into that, and
Yeah.
yes, it's not only that. If you
Not
could
only
go
that,
into
there are
that,
many people, the atmosphere which was created here by the generation of my parents, the silver plater generation. I'm generation of Yom Kippur. They are the generation of the silver plater, 48 war, independent war. So I think from one side, what they emphasize is the sacrifice. Be ready to sacrifice yourself for the community, for the only one Jewish state. It's number one. But on the other side, children like our beloved son, Eran, as a matter of fact, were taken and put outside of our society, outside of the state. For instance, Yigal Allon. Yigal Allon was the best commander during 48 war, during the independent war. The best commander, number one. No question about it. He was the first commander of the Southern Command. He was the commander of Yoav operation, of the operation. He was the commander to take Beersheba, to free Negev, to take half of Sinai during 48. He has never spoken one word on his daughter, Nurit, who was born in Kibbutz Genosar. She's described by the book of Professor Anita Shapira as a beautiful child, didn't speak until age 5. At age 5, the Allon family conducted discussion what we do. And they decided no place for Nurit in our family. Neither in the kibbutz, nor in the state of Israel. She was taken and put in Scotland. Wow. And he was a legend in Israel. There are many streets, Allon Street in Israel, many elementary school, high school, Allon. There's community near Jericho, Allon. He was legend. Many believed he would be one day prime minister. When we flew to Entebbe, he was deputy prime minister Rabin. He was minister of education, but he had never spoken one word on his daughter Nurit, never mentioned. And, by moving all over our country, we met many stories. For instance, Ada Sireni. Ada Sireni was a legend in Palmach, in Mossad.
Oh, okay.
She was among those to kidnap Eichmann. She gave interview a few months ago when Rafi Eitan passed away. Rafi Eitan was the commander of Mossad unit, Mossad squad to kidnap Eichmann from Argentina. So she gave interview about Rafi Eitan, about this legendary period of 48 and later in the 60s. She had never spoken about her daughter Orly. I invited her to ALEH Negev, to the village which we built for our son. At the end of this visit, I told her, your commander during 48, the commander of Palmach, Yigal Allon, never said one word on Nurit, his daughter. By the way, the brother of Nurit served with me in the Power Brigade in 202 Battalion. He didn't say a word. He didn't know his sister. However, I told Ada Sireni, there was a daughter, Nurit, of Ruth and Yigal Allon, born in Kibbutz Genosar. She said, I live in Kibbutz Hiron, north of Israel. I had also a daughter like Nurit. Her name was Orly. We decided the same. We took Orly, put her in London, never spoke about her, never visited her. She lived in London 43 years and passed away.
Wow.
We were all ashamed. Golda Meir never spoke about her granddaughter, Meira. Meira was genius comparing our son, Eran. Meira gave interview to journalist, Chaya Yosef. It's written in a book. It was written in newspaper. And she said, Golda never visited me. Golda didn't love me. Golda told my mom to never mention Golda Meir had retarded granddaughter. Golda was fully ashamed on my presence. That was Meira Ward. She passed away 2 years ago. We moved all over the country by the advice of a social worker in our town, Rishon LeZion. We asked the social worker in our town where children like Eran are living in our country. She said there are many institutes, this institute, that institute, go and see. So we moved from institute to institute. You open the door, you got a blow of stink at your face. And then you see distorted faces of children who are afraid from people, who are afraid from the world. And then you see shameful stuff, shameful workers. You ask the workers, what is this place? They lower their face, and they don't know how to answer. So
is it that they're doing what they can and they just don't have it, or are they part of the problem? Or
they, it's about the legitimacy or delegitimacy which was created by the founders of this country, the only Jewish state.
So they're
on one
embarrassed
side,
by
the
that.
spirit of fighting for the country, being sacrificed, being ready for sacrifice yourself to protect this country. From the other side, creating etol.
Yeah.
That they're retarded or they're severely disabled, cognitively, physically, is not part of our society. This child, our child, Eran, was never said one word. He is like speaking with me all the time. My dear father, what a shame. What a fake society you create here. You say, Kol Israel Arevim ze lazeh. You all responsible one for each other. And then for these values, you fly overseas, you fly to Entebbe, you go and kill the terrorists behind the Munich massacre. They do many things for the state of Israel, to protect the country. Kol Israel Arevim ze lazeh. You say, Ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha, love your friend as love yourself. Yes, you say, but you don't mean me.
For those who need the most protection.
Yeah, and it's like saying, my dear father, you remember that I'm named after your brother, Eran, was killed in the Yom Kippur War.
Mm-hmm.
You remember that I'm named after Eran, who was left behind. My brother was bleeding 7 days until being evacuated in the Yom Kippur War. Do you remember, my dear father, that the Yom Kippur started because of your hubris, because of your arrogancy, because you were so drunk from the victory, the greatest victory after 67 war. And you thought the Arabs are nothing. You didn't count. You say, who are the Arabs after 67 war?
Mm-hmm.
After the greatest victory of 67? You said, they are nothing. The military boarding school or the military orchestra will win the next war if it happened.
Mm-hmm.
Or only the standing military can conquer the Arabs. They are nothing. So remember, my dear father, why it happened? Because of hubris.
Yeah.
My dear father, it's also hubris, the same hubris. To take children like me, put them overseas somewhere in monastery or church, deposit us, the disabled people, outside of the country. By the way, my dear father, you remember this is the only Jewish state? You take us and put us.
Wow.
You give us to Christians overseas. Why you created this country? What's the meaning of of the slogans in your unit, my dear father. One for all for one. You remember the slogans in your unit? You mean me also? By the way, my dear father, you can find yourself at the same position, just like that, in split second, because bullet in your body or head, or terror action, or explosive charge, or elderly, or stroke, or whatever. You are not forever here. You are a human being. You are a temporary creature. How you want to be treated if something happened to you, my dear father? You want to be taken from this Jewish state overseas, put in some church or monastery, deposited by Christians?
And the only other option was to go into one of these facilities that you were saying were horribly maintained.
There's another thing. The one thing is the shame and stigma enveloping disabled children. But the second thing was also the law, special education law. This is the law until now. Until now in Israel, special education law bound the treatment of the country, of our beloved Jewish state, from age 3 to 21, which, just remember, I told you that he was diagnosed at the age of 8 months.
Okay. Oh, so there was...
the word diagnosis doesn't appear in the law. What does it mean? If you need psychologist, okay, you cover it, but you fund it privately. Psychologist, medication, drugs, but above all, social legitimacy.
Yeah.
Many parents are ashamed. Many parents don't know what to tell the community, or they don't want to tell. They hide it. Because in our family, it's so natural to say, in my family, everything is fine. In my family, the apple fell near the tree. We say about successful children. Of course, it is so nice. Of course, the child is great. Of course, because in our family, everyone is genius. Father is genius, mother is genius, grandpa is genius. Yeah, we all the generation of the genius from Vilna, whatever.
Now, ALEH came later. So what did you do? How could you take care of him? You were going on...
Number one, when I saw the situation in Israel, number one, I decided to speak about it. I decided to break down the walls of shame and stigma.
Okay.
So I started speaking about him when he was 4 years old, when I was the Paratrooper Brigade Commander, when I was 38, leading many operations, killing Hezbollah leaders in Lebanon and operations all over the Middle East. At that time, I started speaking about our child, about Eran, about the situation, the awful, shameful situation here in our beloved country for the most severely disabled people and children like him. And I started speaking about one for all for one also in our community, in our society. I started speaking about helping the weakest and the most vulnerable people in our society. Later, when he was 13, we heard about ALEH. ALEH is an organization which was established in Bnei Brak by religious, ultra-religious people. And one day the social worker in our town, in Rishon LeZion, came and said, ALEH is opening another center in Gedera.
Okay.
And people like you, secular, they also may...
Bring their children.
Yeah, may get... ALEH may take children like Eran. So there was a selection board. We came to selection board, and after 1 month we were announced Eran is accepted to be in ALEH Gedera, which was named Moria. And then I started being involved. I was Gaza Strip Division Commander and leading many operations in Gaza. And parallel to my military missions, I started also fundraising. And I got the permission of Chief of Staff
Oh, wow.
To start.
That's
So
wonderful.
I got the permission of chief of staff for fundraising. Usually, I did it only on Friday or weekend, speaking about our son. And at first, we built together with ALEH. We expand the center in Gedera. We build another house for more 36 children in Gedera.
Now, where is Gedera exactly?
Gedera is about 30 kilometers south to Tel Aviv.
Okay.
So it was successful. It was amazing place. And we succeed bring the money, and we succeed to build it.
Wow.
We succeed also to set a new standard for life standard for children like our beloved son.
Mm-hmm.
And he stayed from 13 to 22, 9 years, he stayed in this center in ALEH Gedera. But at this period, we also knew that one day we got another announcement from Ministry of Welfare, and it came saying, "Dear Didi and Doron, your beloved Eran reached 21. He cannot continue studying any longer in special education school. This is the law in Israel until now. What to do? It's like your country is telling you it was difficult to raise your child. From here and over, it's your problem. We, the state, we are not with you." From the other side, I was ready all my life to give my life to protect this country. There were no conditions. The contract between me, the commander, the fighter, and the state of Israel, when you join the IDF, you swear to be ready to give your life when it's needed.
No matter what.
No matter what. No conditions. Then your country telling you, no, up to 21. Now it's your problem. So at that time, I was the commander of the Israeli South Command, running many operations in Gaza as the commander of the Second Intifada. But parallel to the military missions, we convinced Ariel Sharon, the Prime Minister, and the government of Ariel Sharon in 2001 to recognize the national need to build a new model of acceptance, a village, full lifespans for children like our son, for children like him, full lifespan until they pass away, a place which would be a paradise, but above all, envelope these children by love.
See, you're being too humble, because I know from reading about you, when you were at the Southern Command and I think even before that, you had instituted programs with your soldiers where they would spend time volunteering.
Yeah.
I mean, that's amazing. You used your role. Not only, you used your role in the way you're talking about. Every man for every man. Everyone for everyone. And I think that, in light of the need for the long-term care issue with your child and the other, your son and everyone else's sons and daughters, your example, just with your position, move people's hearts.
It seems to me obvious. It seems to me natural to do it, or more than natural. It's imperative. I think this is the spirit of the Jewish people. The spirit of the Jewish people tested in crisis. When this sentence, Kol Israel Arevim Ze Lazeh, we are all responsible one for each other. When it started, this is a tradition. This is a history of the Jewish people. For many years of pogrom, of Jews that were killed in diaspora. And we think in special unit where we started the slogans, one for all for one. No. That was started in diaspora, that was started in ghetto, that was started in circumstances of pogrom, of being killed, of being massacred. So, I thought to myself that we need also to stick in our traditional values, the Jewish values, even here in the only Jewish country. It's a huge paradox that here in this country we take severely disabled children like our son, like Nurit, like Orly, like Meira. We take these children, put them overseas, and for fostering by Christian family. This is huge paradox. What is that? This is the startup nation.
But you were an example of that. Now, hold on, wait, because you were pretty much at the beginning of the startup nation because of what you did with ALEH Negev, Nahalat, Eran. And I'd like you to talk about that. And I'd like you to talk about how you expanded what ALEH does and expanded the long-term mission, the after 21 mission.
We have I feel that I have two goals in my life. Number one, to envelope children like my son with love, giving these children the highest life standard. That's what we do in ALEH Negev. But number two, and not less important, is changing Israel society, educating Israel society. Number two is Tikkun Olam. Tikkun Olam is make Israel society much better. A model society. A model society can be a model society only by personal example, only by being sensitive, enough sensitive, every day, every minute, every second, toward the weakest members in our society. The weakest members in our society like testing us every day. Are you ignoring us? Are you leaving us behind, bleeding behind? Are you envelope us by walls of stigma and shame? Or are you integrating us to your community, to this country? So Tikkun Olam is about make this society much better. And the supreme test of our society is our children like Eran, our son. The presence of the weakest, the handicapped, the presence of these people, the most severely disabled, the presence is the supreme test for us. It's a supreme test for every one of us as an individual, but also it's supreme test for us as a community, as a society. And we have also a program named Tikkun Olam, together with Ministry of Education.
Wow.
This year, 20,000 students studying 1 year program of Tikkun Olam, how to treat the weakest members in our society. And the core center of this program is about volunteering. It may be with Holocaust survivor, with handicap, with someone just stay in hospital, in hospice, youngster at risk, poor people that their presence testing us, like asking, do you see us? The people of Israel, the children of Israel, do you see us? Are you ready to support? Are you ready to assist us to continue managing our life? And our son, like all the times, telling me, my dear father, never forget that the social chain is always measured by its weakest link. The more you do to strengthen these links, you're a better person. and better community, better society. Don't forget, my dear father, do it every day, strengthening the weakest links in our society. And that's what I try to do.
Now, let me ask you, you left the army. You did something that I'm sure to your peers was a little bit shocking. And you went over, did you go straight out of the army to ALEH?
I started the ALEH Negev while being the commander of the Israeli Southern Command. We registered ALEH Negev. We registered non-profit organization ALEH Negev 2000 when I started being the commander of the Israeli South Command. And I started as chairman of this non-profit organization parallel to my mission as the commander of the Israeli South Command. It was, for me, it was only natural. It was not out of the blue sky. One day became chairman of ALEH Negev. I started being mouthpiece of children like Eran since he was 4 years old. And I was the paratrooper brigade commander. And, after getting the letter of Ministry of Education saying your child cannot continue any longer studying in special education school, I thought we must do something which is breaking through. It's out of the concept, out of the box thinking. It's something which will give the highest life standard for these children. And we started planning. We did 3 years planning together with Israel Nevo, was a wonderful woman. She was also the manager of Moria and the ALEH Gedera Center.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then she became the head of our steering committee for planning ALEH Negev. So parallel to my mission as the commander of the Israeli Southern Command, since 2000, 2003, we planned 3 years planning.
You were putting everything, the logistics and everything into place.
So we planned. I continue also fundraising parallel to my military. And something happened in June 16, 2002. June 16, 2002, the Israeli government approved a concept of building a village, full lifespan for children like our son. And the government, it was interministerial governmental decision headed by Ariel Sharon. The government said, we are ready to give 100 million shekel for building this village, but by one condition. You need to bring half of the money. It's matching deal.
Okay.
So I decided to leave the military. When, at this moment, I felt that everything on my shoulder to bring 50 million shekel at that time. As a matter of fact, the planning was double. It was about 200 million shekel at that time. Wow. ALEH Negev, until now, we invested in ALEH Negev more than 300 million shekel until now. There's nothing like that in the world. But so I decided to leave the military, and a year later, in July 2003, I left the military, and it was only natural continue the fundraising effort, bring millions of dollars. By the way, I'm volunteer. I'm a chairman as volunteer. I'm not paid. Me and my wife Didi, and as you know, I believe our son passed away in 2007, February 7, 2007. So formally, I have no reason to continue. I have no son in ALEH Negev. I have no son who is disabled. And I do it because this is his legacy.
Yeah.
The legacy of our beloved son is like shouting from my stomach or my heart. Saying,
Yes.
My dear father, there are more children like me in this country. My dear father, please fight for these children. My dear father, please make this society much better. My dear father, please break this discrimination, break down this discrimination against children like me. So I continue. This is legacy. You know, it's stronger than me.
It's beautiful. It's an amazing legacy. Wow, Doron, I don't know how to feel. You work with angels. You would not say it yourself, because in sitting here and speaking to you, I know I get the feeling of the type of man you are, but you are righteous in what you do. And I don't say that ever. So, wow. Thank you so much for coming on this show, and thank you for being a part of what I do, and thank you for letting me be a part of your life.
Thank you. I want a little bit to expand.
Please
speak a little bit about what we do now.
Oh, all right. I apologize. Go on.
In ALEH Negev, we decided that we will not build just institute. This is not just village.
Okay.
This is social community center. What does it mean, social community center? You know, our goal to integrate severely disabled people like our son. How we do it? Number one, we do it by rehabilitation. Number of children like our son in the world is about between 0.5% to 1%. Most of them identified by orphan disease. Orphan disease is very rare. The number all over the world is about 5,000. 5,000 people suffering orphan disease from more than 7 billion people. So there's not much investment in orphan disease. ALEH Negev, the residents of the village, all of them are suffering orphan disease. But we decided to integrate them with ordinary people also. How come? Number one, rehabilitation. Rehabilitation, every human being suffer from time to time some injury. Maybe a road accident, maybe sport accident, it may be some disease. And about 20% from normal people suffering some injury or disability. Maybe temporary, but about 20%. This is also a big market. So we decided to integrate the 20% with the 0.5%.
Oh, wow.
So we build in ALEH Negev big treatment services like hydrotherapy, like physiotherapy, like communication therapy, like vocational therapy, like horse riding, like music therapy. We have about 12 different treatment. So at the same swimming pool, you may find child like Eran, our son, politician, soldier, head of regional municipality, student in Ben Gurion University, whatever, together. So we do treatment. We have contract with the Israeli HMOs, Israeli Ministry of Defense. Ministry of Defense cover the treatment for soldiers. So we do it together. So
That's
number
excellent.
one is rehabilitation. Number two, education. What does it mean, education? We have, in ALEH Negev, we have ordinary kindergarten for 23 children from age 1. And we teach them what is social responsibility. We integrate in this normal kindergarten. Wow. We integrate children like our beloved son. And we teach children from little age to be better human being, to be responsible for those who are unable, for those who are not privileged, not having the power to be independent. That is number two, education. Number three, visits. In our Judaism, we say there is a mitzvah, is order to visit deceased people who stay in hospital. In ALEH Negev, we have every day about 100 visitors.
Wow.
Every day, 100 visitors, more than 10,000 visitors a year. Among them, many from the United States. Many from the United States, every week. Bus of tourists arriving to ALEH Negev, and you know what they say? They say, wow, we got proportion in our life. This is the most sensitive place. This place is the most moving place on earth. More than the Western Wall in Jerusalem. Yeah, people, it's unbelievable what you hear from people who are visiting us every day. Number four, volunteers. In ALEH Negev, we have right now more than 800 volunteers.
Wow. Holy
More
cow.
than 800 volunteers. We have 500 workers right now and more than 800 volunteers. Volunteers is huge assistance for our work power,
Absolutely.
but also it allows us to be much better than any hospital in the world. Much better,
it's
because
love.
on every worker, we have about 2 volunteers. You know, I have about 200 volunteers from overseas, from 12 different countries, from Guatemala, from Peru, from Australia, from Germany, from Holland, from United Kingdom, from United States, from Canada. Unbelievable. People arriving from all over the world. I have a website by 5 different languages. You know, just 2 weeks ago, 400 pilgrims, Christian pilgrims from Taiwan arrived to visit ALEH Negev, and they with a band, and they dance and celebrated with our children. We have amphitheater, which integrating the children of a village, the disabled people who are coming for rehabilitation. So ALEH Negev is a place which integrate disabled, injured people, handicapped, severely disabled like our son, students from all sectors of society. You know, we have professors and doctors and students. We have high-tech business who are coming. Just lately, a pilot course just ended. The base of Hatzirim base, the base of a new pilots is very close. So they did the ceremony here in ALEH Negev together with severely disabled people. So ALEH Negev is something which you won't find in the world.
Well, it's a place of inclusion. It's a place of healing. It's a place of love.
Absolutely. That's what you feel. You know, you come about 1,000 people around you, many hospitalized, many getting rehabilitation services, education services. You feel love. You know, you feel the inspiration. And we want more people to come, see the model, duplicate the model, build a more village like ALEH Negev here in Israel, but also in the world. Right now, we build the first rehabilitation hospital in south of Israel. There was no rehabilitation hospital in south of Israel. Now, what is the south of Israel? South of Israel is Negev, a desert. About 60% of the land of Israel is desert. Only 8% of the population living in the desert. You know, most of the population living here in Tel Aviv. But we need to decentralize, even from security point of view, because one missile from Iran may kill many people here in Tel Aviv. Yeah, we need to decentralize the population. Ben-Gurion, the first prime minister, said in the Negev, the state of Israel will be tested. So we need to attract more people to the Negev. Right now, we build the first rehabilitation hospital, which give rehabilitation services in the Negev. But also, we build a new community for 500 families near ALEH Negev. Just walking distance to our hospital. Our growth brings us to a point which we need to bring more workers, doctors, physicians, psychologists, hydrotherapists, physiotherapists, communication therapists, administrators. We need many people. So we decided to build a community, which the motto, the title of this community will be also integrative society. So from one side, we have the staff, the workers of the rehabilitation services, education services in ALEH Negev. From the other side, we also have people who are disabled and working in ALEH Negev. We qualify many disabled people to work. We prepare, to work. All the gardening, for instance, in ALEH Negev is done by disabled people. Disabled people who were not taken to military, for instance, who were not given a job in every company in Israel. We pay them. They are on our payroll.
And they are a part. They are a part.
Integral part.
Yeah.
Yeah, we give them jobs, work, we qualify them. We sent our gardeners to the Baha'i garden in Haifa
Oh, wow.
to see the Baha'i gardens and because it's beautiful, there are many flowers and so on, aesthetic community, aesthetic territory, and they came back and said, ALEH Negev is much nicer. They, that their gardeners need to come to ALEH Negev to study.
Absolutely.
What does it mean, aesthetic environment? So we do many things, which is a role model and setting a new standard. This is ALEH Negev. It's something like paradise. The Christian and Muslims and Jews working in full harmony together. I have about 100 Muslims from the Bedouin community, doctors and nurses and physiotherapists and physicians. And when you come and just walk around, you feel the harmony, you feel the love from every corner.
That's wonderful.
And this is the spirit of our son. Is in every corner. Is the goodness in this world, is the spirit of compassion and love to our world. And we need to expand it.
That's wonderful.
All over the world.
I'm going to put all of this information in the description of the video, so that if you want to get in touch with ALEH, if you want to give to ALEH, I will give you all of the links, and you'll be able to do that. Doron, is there anything else you would like to say?
Maybe last thing, we build now also the first research center for rehabilitation. What does it mean, research center? It means we would like to be pioneers in new technology, new methodology for people who lost arms, legs, hands.
Oh, wow.
And they need artificial hands or a new technology for their wheelchair or a new application for their own rehabilitation at home. So a research center together with Ben-Gurion University and Johns Hopkins University in the United States, and maybe also a joint venture with University of Toronto.
Wow.
So we are moving forward. We'd like to see injured people, handicapped people, getting back to work. We'd like to see more people who are defined as disabled involved in Israel production, increased Israel GDP.
Mm-hmm.
There are about 80,000 people, disabled people, who are not integrated into the working market. So this is another target which
That's excellent.
we emphasize.
That's excellent. And it falls right in with your main goal of inclusion and bringing everyone
Absolutely
into the fold. So, General Almog, thank you so much, Doron Almog, for being here. I really appreciate it. It, again, is an honor. If I seem a little bit off, it's because I'm just a little wow right now. I kind of can't believe I'm sitting across from you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, guys, that's it. Toda raba, להתראות ויאללה ביי.
פנייך מה יפות, מה נועזת עד באבות, מבטך שולח להבות, נהרות לא יכלו חוות, עזה וביישנית, רכה ועקשנית, גסה וחושנית, תמיד עוקצת זוכרת איך נשקת עיניי את זוכרת איך בכית אליי ועינייך אז לי